Hello friends. So in this video I'm going to talk about something that came up in a comment from one of the subscribers about Bernardo Kastrup's idea of dissociation and the interface. So there was a question about whether the interface is the dissociation. Now I'm not sure if sometimes it seems to be that Bernardo Kastrup talks about the interface being the dissociative boundary, but really this is something that evolved later. So there was this dissociation that happened first, where there was the mind, the universal mind, and there was dissociation. So in the case of dissociative identity disorder, people have multiple personalities. It's multiple personality disorder, basically. It's the new name. I don't know how new, but and what we call these separate personalities are alters. So this is what happened. It happens in the human mind, and it happened in the universal mind at some point. Of course, all of this is happening outside time, because time is part of the interface. Now, if we look at dissociation, it's not just an illness. So we actually do it all the time. When we want to focus on something, you want to do some work or study, and you have to dissociate from certain things that are going on in your life, things that interest you or things that are worrying you. So it's something naturally that we do. And we also have other ways that we compartmentalize the mind, so creating these natural barriers so we can't see certain aspects of our own mind. And then there's memory, and I don't really know if memory is also the same process. If we look at it, I know certainly probably in materialism it's not, but in idealism I'm not sure if memory is also a similar thing, where you can't see certain aspects at certain times. Now, so we could imagine that there's this the universal mind at the beginning of time. Well, of course it's not the beginning of time, it's outside time. So this eternal, ever-present thing, and there is a little wave or something. Now, as it's eternal, anything that could possibly happen will happen eventually. So there's this movement, and there's a dissociation. So there's a separate I created. So now there's two I's. Now, this probably just didn't last long, went back into the universal mind. There needn't have been a trauma. Maybe there was a trauma, I don't know. I like to think that maybe it's kind of like the universal mind did it kind of purposely, kind of to enjoy its creation. So this happened, this dissociation. Now, it happened many times, but then at one point there was an alter which was able to continue the dissociation, and as time went on, it built an interface to be able to navigate and maintain the dissociation, because basically when we die, the dissociation disappears. So in order to survive, it learnt somehow to reproduce and maintain the dissociation. So to reproduce and survive, it built this interface to be able to navigate the world. Probably starts off very simple, and then it got stronger and stronger until it developed into what we have here. So this interface is not actually the same as the dissociative boundary. The dissociative boundary is what came first, and then we developed the interface. Now, the interface, according to Bernardo Kastrup, includes time and space. So time, space, everything we see in the world, all the colors, the objects, is just something that it doesn't exactly simplify reality. It does to some degree, but it's not just a simplification. It's something completely different. If we look at Donald Hoffman, his analogy of the desktop of a computer, the icons on the desktop don't look anything like the chips inside the computer. So it's not just a simplification. It is, to some degree, yes, okay, it's simpler to use the desktop than try to send emails with by manipulating electric currents or whatever they do. I doubt anyone does it, but so it is a simplification to some degree, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be anything like reality. So this this interface that we have is not the same as the dissociative boundary, but it helps us to maintain the dissociation, because when we die, this dissociation disappears. And whether it dissociates again, who knows? Probably, because if it happened once, why would it not happen again? And of course, the idea is there's lots of people with, we're all here and we've all got this boundary between us. There's one boundary between us and what Bernardo Kastrup calls the mind at large, which is the mind outside of everybody's dissociative boundaries. So the mind at large, and then the universal mind is everything, including the mind at large and the minds of all the dissociative alters. So that's what. So we have one boundary between us and the mind at large, which is what we see as the world. And then between us and other people, we have two boundaries. The mind at large has one boundary between itself and us, because there is also the dissociation works both ways. But of course, the universal mind is what everything happens in. So I hope that cleared it up and that maybe it was interesting. Please put a comment below if you have any more questions. Thank you very much. Goodbye.